Adam, GM, bro. Another Pepe Spaces featuring Rare Coco as well. I'm excited to hear that story. I've actually never heard it before, man. How are you feeling today? Internet doing better?
Dude, internet's down fucking terrible. I just got word today. I called. I was expecting, in the next day or two to be like, did that call? Hey, man, we're here to set up your new internet. And so I called to check in. They're like, oh, no, your order's been canceled. I was like, what? What do you mean my order's been canceled? They're like, yeah, the technician called you and you didn't answer. I was like, dude, when did they fucking call me? That's bullshit. They're like, sorry, your order's canceled. You got to come into the office and make a new order. It's like, but go to hell, man. Starlink, I can't get it quick enough, man. I can't get it quick enough, bro.
The communist nation of Costa Rica. Back at it. Dogfather, man, what's good, bro?
What's good? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Gotcha.
Man, I have a new iPhone. I have a new ports and everything. So I hope this is now working better.
Yes. Sounds good. Yeah, not that.
Yeah,
I do not hear any muffling like I usually do.
Yeah, then it's already an improvement. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that space. So the Cocos, they are something. And yeah, let's do all kind of rock things today.
Rocking out. Chris, GM, bro. How you feeling?
The GM looking like a good space today. Great space yesterday. So let's keep the momentum going. Good to see everyone.
Heck yeah. And for our two guests, Al, man, the founder of pepe.wtf, the meme connoisseur himself. How are you feeling today?
Very good. Thank you for inviting. I'm happy to be here. Fixing things and watching the mempool cry, basically. So all good.
We can't get any of our memes sent on Counterparty because of member suggestion.
Yeah, it's really painful.
I just want my memes on Bitcoin. Kiro, GM bro, really excited for this. Rare Cocoa is everywhere, man.
Yeah, man, we snap everyone right now. So
that's exciting. It's very, very exciting. Yeah. So, kind of on the eve, I mean, maybe it's been a month since Rare Pepe or pepe.wtf, has began to expand past Pepe's with the addition of Wojak Way and Rare Cocoa, and recently Bitcoin stamps becoming the home of Bitcoin NFTs and kind of mimetic communities. Al, I would love to just hear a little bit of kind of the origin story of pepe.wtf. As most know, pepe.wtf is kind of the home for everything rare pepes and fake rares, and you've begun to expand. It is one of the pivotal tools for the Pepe community. But I'd love to hear your origin story of how you ended up getting into Frogland and then building such an important tool for the community.
It started mostly like as an accident. Basically, I joined crypto quite late, like in summer 2021, more or less. I joined with a group of friends that they were doing some investment things. They are basically running a small investment fund. And so I was working as software developer, mostly for banks and investment funds. And at some point I was a bit burned, so I decided to take a look into crypto. I have known it since the beginning, but really never really digged into it until then. So I joined them, and a couple of months later, we know Pepe at Twitter. And so after a couple of months doing some serious crypto, he said, well, it would be cool to have some platform to watch, to see this collection of art. I didn't know anything about it, so the initial idea was basically to have a site where we can see the collection, because the only site available at the moment was the Rare Pepe directory, which was only for the art but didn't have any kind of market data. So between that lack of platform and these guys who developed this thing called Emblem, basically in that moment, Pepe's expanded to Ethereum, so it kind of made sense to have a single place where we could aggregate all the data, like the market that was happening in counterparty Bitcoin and in the Ethereum world. So basically it was just a project we did for fun for 1 month, couple of months as a side project, and let's say it got complicated, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are today. I know Vincent Van Doe and some of those other individuals helped to help build this with you. It's been such an awesome tool, really, really exciting. How about you, Kiro? What is the origin story of Rare Cocoa and yourself? How do you find yourself in this weird kind of meme animal realm with us on Bitcoin?
Well, I joined the Pepe community a while ago, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. But bear market kicked in, and I was thinking what to do next. I mean, we can meme everything, and I always kind of wanted to make some original character, like back then Pepe was from Ethereum, and yeah, come on, let's think about something. And yeah, I think it took me 3 months to get some good character with some backstory, and I wanted to give them the origin of Web3. So a crocodile that snaps, basically, he's like, I would say a tug or a little grifter, you know, laying low on the lake surface or on the swamp surface, and just snaps the floor or whatever, or some sniping. And yeah, that was kind of my idea back then. And yeah, I published the first Coco, and people loved him. And there was one idea beyond another idea. Monty dropped the idea where Coco was free on XCP. I took the name, minted 300 of them, and later, I think a few hours later, I talked with Jamie, Robot of Coffee, and the directory popped up. So it was all crazy and really fast. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I have here pulled up your original tweet. This is from July 19th, 2023. So this year. It says, I want to introduce you to Coco after Mumu, Bobo, Dodo, Pepe. You see where I could get the name from. I thought there must be a meme that fits for Web3, and nobody did it before. Then it occurred to me that a crocodile is just the ultimate thing. Predator snaps, he snaps, flips, and drags you under. the water, and it has a ton of engagement. You got 326 likes and 117 retweets, man. So now looking back, I guess 4 months later, how has that experience been of being the curator of a new mimetic narrative?
It's crazy. I mean, in the first month, in the first series, I got really overrun with submissions. Yeah, I think I also pissed kind of off some people because, yeah, I had to reject some stuff, and I tried to keep it dank and a bit new. And of course, there will be always some Pepe related or Pepe related artworks, but it's normal. I mean, we all mean what we have seen. And it's a really awesome experience. And I also managed to onboard a few new guys on XCP from Ethereum. And yeah, I love it. I mean, I enjoy it. And I really, every day I just jump in and see if there's some new submission and watch all the artworks and evolve and think what to drop next. And yeah, it's awesome.
Adam, how are you feeling about Coco? Do you give it the big thumbs up? How do you feel?
It's funny, like I'd seen it kicking around, but I hadn't seen this page. And as you're scrolling through, Jake's, scrolling through on the video feed here, and I'm seeing like how it's been layered into all these other, the shitcoin card, the different stamp there, where it mimics the kind of, it's got the Bunsey mullet one, and the Banksy, very it's just, it's pretty awesome, man. It's hilarious. And well, as you've probably seen, it's really challenging to make one that sticks, right? That's really a testament that you were able to kind of do that. Pretty cool job, man.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope to keep it alive. And yeah, it's just 10 seasons. I mean, I promised to do 420 cards, and that's not much. I mean, if you compare it to some other directories, that's very possible. So I think Coco got a good future.
Yeah, I would say of the popular kind of tokenized memes, right? You have Pepe, which is the most popular by far, the originator. Then you had Wojak. I would say this is kind of the third one, at least that I've seen, have some legs on Bitcoin and within the Bitcoin community. Looking at it, as the kind of creator of it, what type of approach are you taking towards this? Are you going to be a little bit more hands-on and add some type of curation? Is there a plan for it, or are you just going to go kind of this traditional means and let the community kind of take over and do what they want?
No. I mean, I have definitely hands-on, and not everything got approved. And I tried even to do some team-based series, like S3 was Pepe and Coco best friends. So that was a lot of fun, and people submitted it, and then you get really crazy artworks. But yeah, my idea is to keep it really dank and to keep a good quality of art. So in the future, when you look back at it, it has legs. I mean, just ground them. Don't let them move.
Yeah, some of these cards in card 3, I'm scrolling through on the live stream right now, are absolutely hilarious. Makes complete sense. I do like that kind of theme per series. We've seen Fake Rares have kind of done something similar as well. Al, I'd like to throw this ball to you. You've added a few different meme collections to pepe.wtf. What was the thought process and decision making to begin expanding pepe.wtf beyond just the rare and fake frogs?
It was thought kind of in the beginning, like since always we have thought like expanding it. We've never had in mind the idea of becoming like a full explorer, like counterparty full explorer or anything like that. But it's true that in the beginning, when we thought about adding fakes and dunks, we were only focusing Pepe because at the end it's like the motto of the site. But it's true that somehow the community, the counterparty community is alive in many different aspects, in many different memes, many different collections. So at some point, when we start working into the idea of Memeable collection, which is a collection we have launched in Ordinals, it's a daily comic in Ordinal, not necessarily Pepe. It can be any meme theme. It kind of makes sense to expand the site because at the end, it's like the main topic is gonna be always Pepe because somehow it's in the domain. but at the end, uniting all these different communities that somehow are completely overlapped between the different collections, kind of, it just made sense. So we are still gonna add some collections, not a big number, but we have a small list of collections we want to add. So basically, after Memeables, in which we were opening to more memes, it just made sense.
Is the long-term vision here to be kind of this home for tokenized memes in essence, or are you kind of catering to just what the community is requesting?
The main idea is memes, because at the end, once we have moved from Pepe, well, we haven't moved from Pepe, but what we have worked since the beginning is to move cross-chain, because once we started indexing the market in Ethereum, once Vincent Van Dog added the notable papers, for example, once we have moved cross-chains, for us kind of makes sense to move in that direction, but always across the different memes. So for us, we don't see like adding curated collections of fine arts, but definitely we would add a fine meme arts collection. So in that sense, it's not like we are thinking in expanding a lot, but if there's a meme that come along the community that we are based on, and it come both in the community and in the vibes that we are all like living every day, definitely interested in it.
Can you explain what the memeables are? I've pulled it here up on the video stream. It seems like it's like a once a day auction that has some sort of cartoonistic type of effect. Can you just explain what that is?
Yeah, basically, we thought about putting a bit of a foot into ordinals. Like we don't want to become an ordinal platform, but for us, it made sense to explore that option, because at the end, most of the content we have, except for notable pepes and potentially notable pepes, everything is counterparty with Bitcoin. So ordinal, getting close to ordinal is something we wanted to do. So we had this idea of going out of the classical format of card, because we have all the collections are card based. So Pepe came into this idea of let's do comics. So basically following the Mad Fury's original comic of the Feels Good Man, that 6 cells template, the idea is to have a daily comic, basically following that template. That's basically the only rule. Follow that template and you have to be funny. Beyond that, we accept any meme, we accept any topic. We don't have very strict rules among what is not safe for work or no, but we try to be safe in there. So basically the idea is just that curate a daily collection that we're auctioning in the site. People can pay with Bitcoin or with Ethereum in ordinals, and run it as long as we can. Basically, if you ask me till when you want to run it, well, ideally till we die. So let's see. But for now, it's been a very fun experience, because at the end, there are artists coming from the different collections, from Fake Rares, from Wojak, from Coco, from also people that were not in the community has joined Memeables. So in that sense, it's been a very fun experiment. That at the end is cross collection and cross community, because we have the curious as pepe.wtf as the running motto, but it allows us to basically have like more diverse memes on it.
How do people apply for that? How do you get submissions? Is that right through the website?
Yeah, pepe.wtf/proposals. Basically, there's a process there to push the image. We mint ourselves, and then whenever the card is accepted, we mint and run the auction every day.
Yeah, Bitcoin ordinals is kind of the right direction. That's where all the attention is. So let's say now we're looking, a few months into the future. Pepe.wtf is this, mimetic story. You have auctions. Where else do you expand to? You mentioned something about multi-chain. How does this become, or how does pepe.wtf first become an effective business, but then also kind of help grow the pie in terms of mimetic awareness towards like ETH and some of these other blockchains that you'd mentioned?
For me, it also depends a lot on the community, because at the end, for me, the memes right now is kind of it's a trend in crypto, but it's a trend in art. If we see in the past year what different trends has appeared, like let's see pop art. nobody thought pop art could be something serious back in time. But now when you analyze memes, basically it's like it's internet culture. It's not only crypto culture, but internet culture. So I think there's a lot of place in which memes make sense. As a market and as a product is a different thing, but crypto plays a very, very interesting role in there, because at the end, one thing you can not do easily with memes is like memes fly very fast. It's not that easy to retain ownership and proof of who has created what. So I think that's why memes are very, very powerful in crypto, because it allows a very fast format, as is something that you create in an editor in 1 minute. It allows to prove you have done something. So for me, memes are going to be there one way or another. It doesn't matter if it's going to be Bitcoin, it doesn't matter if it's going to be Ethereum, it doesn't matter in which medium, but crypto definitely is going to be full of memes. For me, Bitcoin makes sense. Obviously, Counterparty makes sense, not only for the fact that it was there since always, but also because of the community it has around. So I don't see somehow the community around Rare Pepe, Fake Rares, Wojak, or Coco now going anywhere. So at the end, the evolution of the platform is very much kind of, I don't want to say dependent, but also in a sense dependent on what the community does, because the community moves very much together. So I think in that sense, there's going to be a lot of projects that are going to appear in the next times. So definitely we're going to have fun. That's the feeling I have with the platform.
Actually, one question I had on there, and it's just something that's been kicking around in my mind, is this idea of like, when people create a meme or a joke or whatever, I think we all kind of get this idea of like, hey, we're locking it on the blockchain. Therefore, I kind of prove that I was the first one to do this, right? What's your feeling on that? I mean, I think we're all as a culture kind of working through this idea of like, hey, I created this first thing, and then people layered stuff on top of it.
Well,
what's your kind of viewpoint? Because we deal with this every day. What's your viewpoint on it right now?
My view right now is like, first of all, obviously, crypto enables transaction. Obviously, at the end, what it enables more is the ability of people to sell to sell everything in a decentralized way, which maybe in traditional art that was easier because there was a current path and a current scene. Basically, you had galleries and so on. But for me, it was not that easy. So basically, in that sense, crypto enables the people to prove ownership. I don't know if in that sense, I mean, it's very hard to predict how it's going to be the market, the art market in the future. But if I join the fact that crypto enables transactioning for different things as fast as something that happens as a meme, and at the same time, memes are becoming kind of like one of the centric pieces of the internet culture, I don't see a world where memes are not going to be here in like 5-10 years. So in that sense, it's like definitely it's going to be evolving. Maybe it loses some kind of attention, but I see it's going to, I don't see that happening soon.
Right. I like the idea, and I think this is actually the correct path to go down. You started off niche, right, with Pepe's and Bitcoin, but the whole idea is to spread the awareness and discoverability of memes, and memes as an art form more than kind of memes as a community. Al, I got one final question, then I'll kind of kick it over to Kiro right after this. A lot of Pepe artists also vocalize that Pepe is an art form, but it also kind of classifies itself as a meme art. Would you consider Pepe art and meme art two different distinct categories of art, or would you consider them one of the same?
I think it goes to different categories, but because of the artist, because at the end, Pepe starts as a meme, like Rare Pepe's. If you see the whole collection, it's an amazing collection and overview of memes and basically historical proof of what was the world in terms of internet and crypto back then. But also because at the end, the memes are made by people, that people are not only being in one place. So if you see, for example, collections like Fake Rares, people who create Fake Rares don't only create memes. So at the end, they create many different arts in many different spaces. So at the end, I think what makes memes and Pepe in particular becoming a piece of art, in my opinion, is that it overlaps many different aspects and many different areas of arts. So for me, Pepe itself is it's a meme, obviously, because it's funny and it makes jokes, but also it's hard because people are using it to express different artistic trends and different emotions and different feelings. So I think it's the combination of both, the power of Pepe itself, as known as it is, but also the power and what people are creating with it.
And I can tell you've thought about this quite intricately over time. Very beautiful. As you were speaking, I was just thinking about 10, 15 years from now, just corners of different traditional museums just having a dedicated meme art gallery, and how hilarious it is going to be to us. But also kind of this, this idea of achievement, but to everybody else who's not in this digital world, being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, definitely. But in that sense, like the people that are creating today is the people that are going to be interested in art the next year. So in that sense, before we were joking in a chat, and basically we were saying we are not going to stop until we see somebody throwing tomato soup to a freedom cake hanging in the MoMA. So basically somehow it's like they may like it or not, but this is here and this is going to remain here because or crypto dies and Bitcoin is destroyed, or this is going to be here. So they cannot avoid Pepe.
That's beautiful. Arwen is on the live stream, says Al for president. So I wanted to make sure that I noted that.
We all love Arwen.
Yeah, he's a wild, wild man. Kira, what is your take on memes as an art form versus maybe saying rare cocoa as an art form? Do you consider them two distinct kind of categories of art forms, or one of the same?
I would say they are kind of the same, but also very different. It depends always on the artist. I mean, when you look, some guys, okay, they make memes that are just hilarious and funny, but there's a lot of stuff that had really deep messages in it. And, also, the execution of them that are insane. I mean, when I look back on some Red Pepe or Red Coco, whatever, it's crazy what people create.
Yeah, I agree as well. Art is just such a kind of weird medium. It really is truly on the artist itself. I want to dive a little bit more into kind of the vision for Coco. I was kind of interested how you made Series 3 this idea, or kind of the theme of Pepe and Coco being best friends. It's kind of taking a little bit of a different direction than what we'd normally see, is this like decentralized kind of art project, and the community kind of takes over. Where do you see, or like, what is the outlook maybe over the next few months in terms of expanding? I guess this would be like the equivalent of the Coco IP.
So, well, basically, when I started with the directory, my idea was to make it a bit controlled, but also very decentralized. People didn't know they got burn tokens on the start because I sold the rare cocoa, and I had a double dispenser up with Kobe back then, and decided to use this as my burn card, basically. And I did a lot of voting. So basically, I asked the people in our chat what we should do next. And yeah, that's how I decide stuff. And yeah, the IP of Rare Coco will not be protected. I will say it's CCO. I mean, it makes sense to make it CCO. And we will see where it develops. I can't say right now what we are doing, but I tried to get at last one artwork for each series made by some guy to basically airdrop to Rare Coco holders. And yeah, idea is free art at last one series. I mean, if someone decides to do another one, it's awesome. I can't force anybody, but it's basically a lot of fun. I mean, that's how it started.
I agree. I did bring up G-Money, who's on stage. How's it going, bro? GM, do you have any questions or comments?
No, just hanging out, enjoying the space. I love my Rare Cocoa. And, you know, if you want me to make any comments on memes, I think an important part of memes are memes destroyed the centralized control structure of the mainstream media. And so I think people think memes are cute and they're funny and they're cool. But in reality, we're fighting a war against a 1,000-year-old death cult that owned every piece of propaganda, right, in the news media. And so that centralized news media, that's difficult to break down, right? How do you break down 90%? 90% of the news media is owned by 6 corporations, right? 232 people control what 300 million Americans view and watch, right? So you have to go around the centralized news media. And so, you know, a meme is basically a contagious, I'm reading an example from a DARPA memo, a contagious information pattern that replicates by parasitically infecting human minds and altering their behavior, causing them to propagate the pattern. Individual slogans, catchphrases, melodies, icons, inventions, and fashions are typical memes. But an idea of information or pattern is not a meme until it causes someone to replicate it, to repeat it to someone else. All transmitted knowledge is mimetic. And so, you know, memes are a lot more powerful than I think people realize. And so I'm here to spread the message of memes to counter act the mainstream media.
Adam, how do you feel about that? Memes taking on traditional news and legacy business? Is it possible?
It's a worthy battle. That's what I would say to that, man. It's so interesting. I mean, obviously, COVID provided this wake up call for so many of us that that we were being propagandized, and you know, you lose fact of that when, or you lose sight of that when stuff is really good, right? Our society is pretty great. Best in the world ever. I'm talking about Western society, not just US, but Western society. And when you get that, we were all pretty fat, dumb, and comfortable, right? And waking up to the fact that, wait a minute, we are being, holy cow, this is, wait, the New York Times is a propaganda machine? I'm telling you, it's a slap in the face for a whole bunch of us. And by a whole bunch, I mean almost everybody. Because we had it pretty good. And it's a slap in the face, and you wake up to it. And I think memes are important, especially for if you can't speak out and have freedom of speech. Memes are hyper important. So long live Pepe, long live Coco.
You reminded me of the book Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. Have you ever read that?
No, I watched a lot of Chomsky back in my communist days, though.
It's probably why they're not giving you the internet.
You know what they say? Communists make the best capitalists.
77277. What's up?
Hi fam, just drop out of class. I'm new about here, brother Pepe, and I love Pepe's. I want to know much about Pepe. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you're talking to the right people for sure. Al, you want to give him a little directory of how he can learn more about Pepe?
Well, definitely I can make him
Nice.
spend like
Thank
his
you.
next week basically discovering both every directory, but I would say one good place to start is at wiki.pepe.wtf. Basically, there Pablo Ricasso made a very good job. Well, lots of people, not only him, but basically he coordinated. There's a lot of information about the origins of Pepe, counterparty, and many other things. So that would be a very nice place to start, but definitely scroll across every collection in pepe.wtf would be a nice start.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I definitely will take a look at that, man.
A great place to start too is finding the Matt Fury movie. Is it Feels Good Man? The movie is a great kind of primer just to hear, you know, Matt's story and how it kind of started and roots in 4chan and how it kind of grew to this like internet meme. Doesn't really touch so much on, you know, rare Pepes and how important rare Pepes have been in expanding that, but it's a good primer as well, just to get that kind of backstory.
Yeah, Feels Good Man. It was actually voted the best documentary of 2020 by a lot of like very credible reviewers in the movie realm. So highly recommend that one. Is really good. But Al was being a little bit humble. 77277. Al is the founder of pepe.wtf, which is like the Pepe Bible. I would highly recommend going to that website. There is endless amounts of information there.
Nice to meet all you, man.
Yeah, make sure you give him a follow so you could stay up to date with everything that's going on there. I want to pivot back a little bit. I was kind of piqued by the conversation of memes taking on the traditional news network. If you dive a little bit deeper into it, right, kind of like ideologically, Twitter is trying to take on the traditional news media, and that's been very, very vocalized. There was this, before Elon took over, and it's still this way in the GIF category. There's this idea of like greenwashing, where Pepe is being, removed from all of these different types of social media platforms because of its quote unquote right-wing affiliation, which, the documentary goes into all of that. The other social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, they're also pretty resistant towards Pepe. Adam, what do you think? Do you think X can help proliferate the ideology of Pepe because of Elon's kind of resistance towards traditional media?
I think so. I think actually, now that you're talking about it, I think we should really get like a campaign going to bring back, like, when I want to put in my gifts, I want to have the full suite of Pepe's there, right? And you realize, I mean, this was part of my wake up call. Was a friend of mine, I can't remember, this is a few months ago, maybe a year ago, where I had, a Pepe shirt on or whatever, and I'm talking to my friend on WhatsApp, and we're on a video call or whatever. It's a childhood friend, right? And he's like, dude, what the hell's that on your shirt? And I'm like, it's Pepe. What are you talking about? He's like, bro, that's like a racist, whatever. I don't even know. Went down the like rabbit hole. And I'm like, bro, your view of Pepe and mine are completely different, bro. Right. And you realize that he from, the Northeast, New York Times, he's been fed that, Pepe's this racist, slogan. And you realize that all of these kind of memes can be used for good or bad. And, so I think it's important that we, as like, firm believers in Pepe and Pepe community, like, that we take this back, that we say, no, this is ours. And it doesn't, you can, of course, people can believe whatever they want. And there may be the most racist person on earth may have Pepe, imprinted on his forehead. Doesn't matter, because we are these other people on this other side that believe Pepe's this. And, I think that's where community is really important. And we should actually, man, I say we get rolling with that. What do you think, Al? You think we should get a movement going on X to bring the Pepe gifts back?
Totally. Also, I think even Pepe was not related at all with crypto, because it's earlier, obviously. I think one good thing that happened to Pepe, basically, Rare Pepes and all the descendants, one good thing is it has gone global, because at the end, I'm from Spain, and in Spain we don't have that perception of Pepe being a racist meme. It's something more in the US, so in many different countries that we don't have that kind of perception. So at the end, Pepe has crossed borders, and in that sense, it's like people have learned what Pepe is from different angles, and they are learning what Pepe is from the art angle. So in that sense, I think we are starting to have a little bit of advantage in that battle, but definitely it's not an easy one, because as you were saying, at the end, Facebook is a lost one. I don't know even if we want to jump in there, to be honest. But in terms of X right now, the good thing is I have hope that in that sense it's like Elon somehow it has always gone like cross. It has gone in the wrong path, in the non-traditional trends. So at the end, I have hope that is something we can recover. In the previous Twitter, I don't think that was possible. Right now, I have a little bit of hope, but definitely it's not going to happen alone. But it's as easy as to convince Giphy, the company that enables the GIFs, to add it back, basically, because at the end, the censorship that we have in X is basically because of the GIFs. If we would have Pepe back in Giphy, that battle would be won. So yeah.
One of the campaigns I'd thought about after Lom took on was try to get him to retweet one of his Pepes in the Rare Pepe collection. I think there's two or three of them. That would be iconic. You'd probably see the curated collection probably go crazy if that were the case.
Yep. All right, I'm already crafting the thread in my mind, so I will be reaching out to each one. Everybody on stage will be getting a DM from me when that goes live, that we create this campaign and start pushing Elon to pressure Giphy to bring back the Pepe myth.
Do it.
Would be amazing.
Let's do it.
The interesting thing of Pepe and just memes is there's kind of a variety of, I guess, objectives. I don't know if that's the right word. Some Pepes and memes, they kind of capture the moment in time, right? I think like Dark Farms is pretty good at doing this. There's a lot of rare Pepe cards, and other memes are used for like expression, right? How are you feeling? And then some are kind of just this idea of like interest. You mold Pepe or whatever meme into whatever you're interested in at the time. The news section of it, I find kind of interesting, especially how it started on Bitcoin and Counterparty, because you really just, you can't get rid of that. And it you know, kind of packages it in this, you know, kind of nice and fancy way. Bunzi says this quote a lot, where news travels at the pace of memes. And I think it couldn't be any more right to it. It's very, very interesting. I will die on my hill and say that, you know, memers or tokenized memers are kind of the blue collar workers of the NFT space. When you think about kind of how people who create memes or Pepes get paid, right? It's, you do this, like, you create this art, and then you do a drop, and then you kind of just move on to the next one. And then if people like that, if that speaks to them because of the news, or they're related, or they're around that time, then they go in and they acquire it. But there's no kind of floor price gimmicks and pumping and tokenomics. It's just a complete, very like straightforward kind of idea. I always find it interesting how that will proliferate kind of into the future. Chris, we've talked about this actually a lot over the last few years, of just like memes and news. What's your take on pepe.wtf, Rare Cocoa, and the expansion of the memetic economy?
I think that memes are the medium. I think going back to kind of like the origins of time, like hieroglyphics and caves are basically memes, just kind of distilling it into the message into its simplest form and spreading it around at the speed of light is just something super special. So I think all of the you know, the biggest like think of propaganda posters, those are just memes. And so the message can just carry so much further and have kind of so many different meanings when you distill it down to its simplest form. And so I think with crypto, looking back to like early days of Bitcoin, magic internet money, all of these really simple, easy to understand concepts, or difficult to understand concepts simplified down, kind of allowed to spread so much quicker.
Yep.
So I think Pepe is just, you know, it's taking over. It's funny that the mainstream media can kind of talk in terms of you know, memes being destructive, or being kind of you know, a little bit alt-right or something like that. But memes are kind of for everyone, and people have different perspectives. So I think it's crazy to put it in a box, but I think memes are kind of the most powerful form of communication.
Propagandized memes. That's kind of, that's an interesting kind of idea. Kira, what are your thoughts on it? You think you can create propaganda through memes in a malicious way?
Definitely. I mean, we've seen it in a ton of spaces and like shit coins, for example. But I would say yes, they can be propaganda, but they can be also a lot of truth. From my background, I come from very let's say fucked up country. It was war. I grew up as war refugee and stuff like this. And yeah, I lost how to say it, the trust in governments and people on the top. I was always kind of the little anarchist on this side, and graffiti is basically also like a meme. If you watch it like this, I mean, you fight a war, like G Money said already, against greater powers, and with the blockchain, what got me back to crypto 10 years ago, they can control it, and that's what I love on it. And I hope, of course, that people do only good stuff with memes, but yeah, that's my take on it.
G Money, you seem to be a little bit politically charged and thought about this. What's your thoughts on propagandized memes?
Look, the left can't meme. Can't meme, right? And so, like, when the commies can't meme very well, like, their message doesn't attract people. And so the truth is, you know, is very, you know, is very compelling, and it also replicates a lot quicker. So the truth catches fire and it's unstoppable. But you know, when you're trying to force propaganda, you're trying to shove stuff down people's throats that they don't want and they don't like your message isn't going to resonate with people. The truth resonates much quicker. And, you know, Elon knows about Pepe. Elon's been tweeting Pepes for quite some time. For those that know about some of Elon's old tweets, some of Elon's tweets are counterparty tokens. Like he literally tweeted you know, Oasis mining, CBG, whatever that
CBG
Bitcoin girl.
tone.
Yeah, I was
Right.
thinking of changing my PFP back to that one today. It's funny enough you mentioned that.
Yeah, so Elon knows about counterparty. You know, his first tweet about NFTs was on March 15th. And if you guys go down the rabbit hole of 315 in my research with Covfefe and Rare Pepe and 1111 that we have coming up in a couple days, there's some interesting timestamps and date stamps that Elon is messaging, I think, to us in a.
Wait. What's this 1111 stuff you're talking about? What is this? Let's go down some rabbit holes here, man. Let's go down the full psyops rabbit hole you got going for us.
Okay, so let's just start with Rare Pepe. Okay, Rare Pepe, if you look at the card, has a 315 on it. Okay.
Wait, Jake, pull it up so we can see this here. I got to see what you're talking about here. So you're saying the Rare Pepe card has a 315
numbers on Rare Pepe. Okay, 315, right?
Okay.
So for those that don't know, the 315th day of the year is 1111. Okay, I know this all sounds crazy and stuff, but just stick with me here. Okay. So 315 is.
Wait, is that on leap years as well, brother? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know about that, but
okay. So 1111 is 315.
Yeah, 315 is also known as the Ides of March. Okay, the date March 15th. Okay. President Trump, when he came into office, he was the chaos that came into the controlled, you know, institutional land of red versus blue, right? He shook up the system to some degree. And the first person he put in the Oval Office was a gentleman by the name of Andrew Jackson. Okay, for those that don't know Andrew Jackson was the president who defeated the second central bank of the United States. Okay, and so funny enough, Andrew Jackson's birthday is also on March 15th. Okay, so you get into these combinations of 315. It all sounds crazy, but the first date Trump tweeted himself as a Pepe was on October 13th, 2015. So you get another 315. It doesn't have, it's a combination of these 315s. Yeah, don't
wait. October 13th,
2015. Okay, Trump tweeted himself as a Pepe.
But that's not on that. Why didn't he tweet on November 11th? I don't understand. Wait.
So what I'm saying is the 315s can be in any kind of combination, but Trump, when he tweeted himself,
then you're going to be like, well, 5 + 1 + 3 is 9. So anything with the 9. Come on,
we don't have to get
real numbers, bro. This is like that's a little. You're saying October 15th. That's 10/15.
Adam, stop fighting his theory.
10/15, bro. October 15th is 10/15.
Oh no, October 13th, 2015
Oh my god. Anyway, that's like you just give me every number on earth and fit it into a day, dude.
If you want to just chill and relax and let me talk, okay, and open your mind a little bit, I'd be happy to explain it further, okay? Right. Trump tweeted Covfefe on May 31st, 2018, I think it was. So it's a 531, all right? You get these combinations. I know, look, it sounds silly because
that's like front, back, left, right, up, down, add them together. Dude, that's not a
brain that doesn't understand the realm of frequencies and numerology into the ecosphere. Like, you might not understand it. It sounds crazy. I get it. I know I sound crazy to normies. But if you break it down, okay, the Rare Pepe, the actual mirror of that card, Pepe Rare, is the 315th card in the Rare Pepe series. Okay. If you understand JFK, what's that?
That's interesting. I wonder who was responsible for picking that card on that day.
Well, Mike is responsible for picking the first 1,500 cards. If you look at Series 3, card 15, you get Putin Pepe. Putin Pepe, with a smug look on his face, is also the person who, you know, is kind of the center of this BRICS and breaking up the entire, you know, central bank system via the energy war with Ukraine. That was the start of it. Putin was declared a war criminal by Congress on no less than March 15th. The Federal Reserve reduced the reserve requirements to 0.0 on March 15th. So I can go into like literally hundreds of data points on March 15th and 315.
Can you confirm that the NSA created Bitcoin?
Basically, yeah. But if you want to research, it's called the Covfefe dig. It's on Substack, and I don't want to get too far into it because we're talking about other stuff, but understand that repeating number sequences are very magical and powerful, and injecting them into the Bitcoin blockchain only made us more powerful. And so if you want to understand that, like there's some actual evidence that suggests that's probably what happened. But again, it's just open source intel. Anybody can look it up and make their own mind about it. I'm just telling you what I found, and you can like it or not like it or make fun of it. That's up to you. But I'll tell
I'm
you,
gonna make fun of it, no doubt about that. But I still like it. It's still interesting to me. But I'm still looking. I want to look for the rare Pepe card. I got to see whether that. I can't believe I've never seen that 315 on there.
Okay, but also if you look what happened to FTX, right? The fried Bankman Fried. Do you know what day they filed Chapter 11? They filed Chapter 11 on 11/11. Okay, there's all these weird things that are happening in the world that have these weird sequential dates, but also 5/31, the date Trump tweeted about Covfefe. If you guys understand counterinsurgency, okay, so the United States government put out a guide called COIN. It was called the Counterinsurgency Guide. And so my thesis and my theory and my research dives into the fact that Bitcoin is a digital counterinsurgency against, the elite that are in control, right? The insurgents that are controlling humanity, controlling our institutions, controlling, the money printers, the big pharma, all of it. Humanity has been empowered with a digital weapon, right? Get into Jason Lowry, that is nonviolent. And all we have to do is stop consenting, right? Power from government is derived from consent. We've been given a tool that we no longer have to consent with the government, right? We don't have to consent to them anymore. We can take our corn, we can self-custody it, and we can go about our merry way and just tell them no. Literally, that's how we win this battle. And so, anyways, it's a deep conversation.
So G-Money, you may like this. So somebody just sent me a DM right now. They said World Contact Day was first declared March 15th, 1953 by an organization called the International Flying Saucer Bureau as a day in which all IFSB members would attempt to send a telepathic message into space. So that is aligned with your 315 thesis. Maybe Pepe is created by aliens or from telekinesis, but somebody just sent that to me right now.
I love it. No, it's all relatable, and those that see it. And funny enough, Ronald Reagan ended the last pieces of JFK's Executive Order 11.11.0. 11.11.0 was the executive order that eliminated interest attached to the debt of our currency, right, of issuance of currency. And so Ronald Reagan, right, RR, actually ended that, the last piece of that, on 9/9, September 9th. If you know Rare Pepe was actually first created or issued on 9/9. So if you understand Rare, understand the letter R. R is the 18th, right, letter in the alphabet, okay? Pepe, if you put numbers to letters, is 16/5, 16/5, which is 21/21, or if you subtract it, is it actually 11/11. So Rare Pepe Rare is like a number sequence of 21s, 11s, and 18s, okay? Now, if you get into some of this, more of this stuff, you will realize that we are kind of in this battle of good versus evil, right? 21 goes down to 777 versus 18 rare is 666. So in reality, there is a battle going on that is, good versus evil, 7s versus 6s. There's Pepe versus, kind of the old institutional way. And so if you get down into this, it gets pretty weird. But there is also like, whoa, like that's weird. Okay. But you can add a lot more data points to this to kind of get to the, to where maybe this is going. But it's funny enough, I just did some, I did a interview with Breedlove this morning. It won't actually go out for another couple of weeks, but I suggest people just look at the research themselves and create their own mosaic of truth out of, what that all means.
G-Money, if anyone is interested in learning about this, where do they go to read all of your documentation on this?
So if you follow my channel, G-Money Pepe, I can post a Covfefe dig actually. Can I put it in this Twitter space?
Sure.
I'll put it in here, but let me put it in here. So I'm going to respond to this. So if you guys want to look at it, just read the Substack. I did a 2.0 as well. But this has all the sauce. So like, don't trust me, right? Don't believe me. That's the whole point. Like, go verify it yourself. You can look at it on the blockchain, and you don't have to trust me. So, but in essence, I do believe the good guys are using some of this magic of memes and numerology and timing of things to perhaps help with the magic and the power of getting this onboarded to the world. Because if you were going to create a new currency for the entire world, like, you couldn't really tell everybody what you were doing, right? But meme magic is powerful. Trump used Pepe the Frog, which caused a complete meltdown of the mainstream media. And so what did they do? They attacked Pepe. They literally, Pepe was created 2 days before Hillary Clinton attacked Pepe on 9/11. Funny enough, 9/11. Okay. And so, look at the sauce. And, if you want to look at the biggest proof we have is there's a card called the Games of Trump. The Games of Trump card is an interesting card. It's a rare Pepe because if you ever heard about an anonymous entity called Q on the internet, okay, which I'm already seeing people probably roll their eyes. All it was a dissemination information campaign to help decentralize information, right, against the centralized media. And so if people go back and actually look at it, it's just information that's dropped in like a Socratic method. But anyways, this person is still anonymous. Nobody knows who it is. But in essence, it talked about the NWO, talked about elite cabal controlling institutions. A couple years ago when Q came out, everybody would have probably, they still think it's crazy and that mainstream media debunked it. But in essence, if you actually look down deeper, it's all about timestamps and it's all about the future proving the past, and to where like a lot of this information is actually legitimate. And so
wait, what about this Games of Pepe card?
Okay, so this Games of Trump card, there's a
Games
card.
of Trump.
So,
Okay.
so Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, right? 17th letter of the alphabet. Okay, and again, stuff. There's a Games of Trump card with 17s all over it, and the issuance of the supply was 1717. It's Trump on a dragon, and it says a Games of Trump. This card was actually issued like 2 months before this anonymous entity ever dropped information online. And so, like, an ultimate proof of Bitcoin being connected to some weird plan to maybe, of the great awakening of the entire planet are these memes that get ingested in there. And one of them is the most important one is called the Games of Trump. And so, again, but let the dates and the time chain prove it. Don't let me prove it to you. But again, this is all part of the Substack. It all kind of goes into that thing. And so if you want to learn about information warfare and how like this all kind of comes about, the Games of Trump is actually a pretty interesting card. And so I do believe, since nobody really knows who Mike is, the creator of Rare Pepes, I do believe maybe, there was possible, communications going on.
Are you saying Mike is Satoshi, bro?
No, I'm just saying Mike may be part of something bigger that we don't know about, right? Because you can hide. Yeah, nobody knows who he is. And so I don't know. Like, that's up to people to figure out for themselves.
Wow, bro.
Well, G-Money, appreciate
This is
that.
like a little, honestly, I got to say, a little bit frying my brain here because it's, you just touched on Mike. And obviously we have the Rare Pepe scientist, but obviously Mike controlled the scientists. So here we go, man.
Well, Mike was responsible for the first 1,500 cards. And guess what the 1,500
Well, he's not responsible. I mean, there were other people involved in picking the cards. He wasn't the only one.
But he was the only one that controlled the numbering of them through 1,500. So 1,500 was invisible Pepe, funny enough. And then he closed it down at 1774. But yeah, we don't know who he is. But if you've heard of steganography, you can hide messages in plain sight in images. It's a pretty common thing. But yeah. But it's a deep rabbit hole. I just gave you guys a really quick like overview of it. But to fully understand it, you have to like do some research, because I gave you guys like a 10-minute breakdown in like what I've been doing for years. So it's not easy to break down.
Hey man, just shoot me a DM. Maybe we'll do this one day in the future. We'll really dive into it.
We'll dive deep, man.
I will, yeah, we do this. So Jimmy, we do this Pepe show every Wednesday. So shoot me a DM and we'll schedule this for like some weeks from now. We'll bring it back up. Crumbs has been waiting patiently. Do you have some thoughts on this?
Yeah, this all sounds really cool. I was just thinking the Rare Pepe scientist is also sort of kind of critiquing, trust the science and sort of the consolidation of sort of expert opinion. And yeah, in that sense, I think it's also political commentary. I just want to say that, I'm here for the fake rares, and I just found out that someone has been minting Pepes or the fakest chain of all on BSV. So there's like pepe.sv as well, apparently. So somebody made like a museum or something.
The fakest of all chains.
So here, Adam, let me ask you this then. After that conversation, the idea of conspiracy, is that a meme within itself, or is there something, or is it news or entertainment?
I can't fully place the conspiracy. It's funny. We were just talking. I was talking about it with my wife this morning, and it's like, I don't know where it lies, because look, I have friends who are like full on conspiracy. They're injecting, microchips in the vaccines, right? And I think in a lot of ways, like, and I don't believe that. And in a lot of ways, that kind of, as conspiracy goes completely overboard, you realize that the hint of truth there, which is like with vaccines specifically, that biotech companies and healthcare companies pushed it in order to make money, that no longer can even be discussed. If you follow this, if you go to the complete side of like, oh, they're injecting microchips. And for years, we didn't even talk about vaccines, because if you doubted vaccines, you were just a crazy person, right? Because they went to this like microchips injected area, right? And so the average person, me, you, and most people in the world are like, oh, you're anti-vax, you're crazy, right? Because microchips. So I think that in a way, it's a way of blowing out the conversation completely. And I think now what's actually happened is we've woken up to this idea that, oh, we've been tricked by this, like, by making everything so fringe, we've been tricked into like not even being able to discuss these things. And I think a lot of us woke up to this like, no, all this stuff is back on the table. We can talk about this again. And I think, memes are part of that, where we can actually talk about this stuff again. This isn't beyond the scope. This isn't crazy person realm. We can talk about it and be rational. We don't have to believe in microchips to actually be able to question, wow, should I give my kid 17 different vaccines? So I think that's a good thing, that all this kind of discussion is back on the table.
Starts and ends with the memes themselves. It is the conversation starter. Then it adds a different dynamic once you can start collecting those as well. Like, let's say you put, the idea of a conspiracy, you pepify it in some way and then mint it, and then that theory is then proven to be true, right? How does that impact the value of that meme, of collecting it? That's where you get into these crazy kind of valuations, ideology for collectors, because we've been covering the idea of collecting now on this show for almost a year now at this point. There's something to collect for everybody, no matter how fringe or wild it may sound.
Maybe give us the full run. G Money can give us the full rundown on like the conspiracy set, right, of Pepe's. Like, you got to hold the 17 card, you got to hold the 777 card, you got to
Well, check this out. So if you guys are familiar with Julian Assange, Julian Assange compared Bitcoin as the first time humans have a actual way to provide proof of publication. And so what I've done with my project, I have like a little project as well, and I tried to provide that journalistic proof of publication in following some of these conspiracies to see if they ended up panning out. But in reality, that proof of publication is pretty powerful, because some of my art or some of my stuff is basically a journalistic interpretation of trying to see some of the the hidden meanings behind this stuff. Because if you go back again, I'll mention it again, the Q drops talking about central bankers, they literally list all the central bankers on 11/11. Okay, if you go deeper into some of that stuff, it talks about how what is actually is gold, right? Like what has gold been? What does it mean to be covered in gold, as the elite have been flaunting gold for a very long time? And so this actually breaks their system of control. But you know, that proof of publication, funny enough, right? The test token, the first token on Counterparty was made on January 13th. Okay. So if you go back to January 13th, funny enough, years later, right? Because the first test token was done back in 2014, had an immaculate conception, burned Bitcoin to create it. There's a Q drop on January 13th that says literally test, SEC test. Okay, so if you talk about SEC, for those that don't know, I believe Counterparty is the antithesis of Wall Street. So I believe Counterparty is the new asset exchange system for everybody, and that we will bring down Wall Street, because you can't just take down the currency. You have to take down the third-party intermediaries that have controlled the entire monetary system through the equities and everything else. And so,
Well, we better get some more fucking devs on it then, bro, because we do not have enough devs on Counterparty to build out a global financial system, bro. J-Dog is not enough, bro. J-Dog is not enough.
Right? Absolutely, 100% agree. But funny enough, right, the SEC, for those that don't know, you know, the guy who created the first company called the SEC was a guy named Charles Ponzi. So his company was actually called the Securities Exchange Company. And
All right,
enough,
bro. Whoa. We got to hold on. We got to book a show. I just followed you. Hit me up in DMs. We'll go deep down this fucking conspiracy rabbit hole, man. We don't have enough hours in the day to do this today.
Counterparty's got some stuff, bro.
We don't have enough hours, man. We got. We'll book a show with you. We'll do a fucking solid 2 hours on this, man. We'll do full rabbit hole.
Awesome. Crumbs, what's up? What's going on?
I was in some spaces with some ordinals refusers earlier today, and I was telling them that, you know, Counterparty was the original ordinals. But are there any ordinals Pepe cards on Counterparty? Because I think that would be pretty cool to have one of those.
Yeah, there's some of the tokens on Counterparty use ordinals as kind of the storage layer. From my knowledge, Joe put like a tool out for it.
The pepe.wtf token in Counterparty is pointing to an ordinal, for example.
Based. I love that you used ordinal refusers, Crumbs. I've not heard that one before. I'll have to put that in the.
Yeah, I think there's like people on the Bitcoin mailing list. I think even like Luke Dasher was like saying that, like, hey, we should make like a ordinal refuser client. You know, we should prune all the ordinal data. So there's some kind of debate going on in Bitcoin still, whether ordinals are spam, and I guess it's the same debate that's, you know, it's all this day about, you know, whether Counterparty assets are spam. Yeah, I just think it's super funny. Like, people don't learn this.
You should ask them what they think about stamps. They're gonna love stamps.
They're gonna love stamps, bro.
Wanted to say the same, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, Al, you know, we'll probably wrap this up pretty soon, but tell us a little bit about the thesis on stamps, or pepe.wtf just added that recently. Why now?
Stamps for me is like, well, apart for a very interesting thing, because it's basically using what we've been using all this time, but with a little twerk, that instead of not only using Counterparty protocol, but also storing the data on chain. So at the end, what Stamps is doing is storing data in Bitcoin transactions, but in a different way that Ordinal is doing. Ordinal is using SegWit discount. SegWit witness data, sorry. So basically, it's storing the data for the ordinals in a way that theoretically could be pruned, but let's be honest, right now it's not something that is happening, but could happen. At the end, is storing the image in a part where once the node processes all those transactions, the guy who's running the node could decide to erase it because it doesn't belong to the balance or to the monetary part of Bitcoin, for saying somehow. While stamps, what it's doing is like it's storing them into a multi-sig transaction. So basically, it's storing data in the UCHO set. The UCHO set, what it's doing is at the end, it's like it's kind of dispersing Bitcoin in the network. So every node, no matter from when the node is, has to store the data. Ordinal happens after Taproot. Basically, Taproot enables ordinals, while stamps is using basically traditional Bitcoin, for saying somehow. So at the end, stamps is storing data in a more permanent way, but also it's way more expensive because Ordinals has something that is basically kind of a discount to be able to store data in that way, while Stamps don't. So at the end, Stamps is basically on-chain assets in Counterparty. As it's more expensive and the data is more limited, you cannot do everything. For example, the memable collection we are doing in pepe.wtf in Stamps would be probably kind of impossible because the limit in Stamps, I'm not sure if it's a hard limit, but let's say it's like something around 7 kilobytes, while in Ordinals, you can store like 200, 300K without problems. So Stamps at the end is counterparty assets. So you have access to the protocol, you have access to the dispensers, you have access to the DEX, you have access to everything we're used to, but with the advantage also that you are storing the data on chain. So for me, Stamps is important because basically it has brought a new wave of attention to counterparty, not only development, like there are new platforms, there's Stamp Ninja, there's a wallet, there's been like different kind of developments, but also new community that has joined. So for me, Stamps is important to counterparty as counterparty is to Stamps at the end. It's like, it's something that in my mind can bring a bit more of attention and guarantee to counterparty that gonna be able to continue being not developed, but maintained and being used. So since the beginning, I've been involved in Stamps. Like I minted a lot in the beginning. So once we started to add new collections to pepe.wtf, Stamps makes sense for me because it's not a curated collection. So all we have is collections that are being curated by somebody. Stamps is an alive stream of assets, for saying somehow, but makes sense for the near, basically for the compliance that we have in the community. At the end, Stamps community and counterparty community are basically very, very, very near, but also Stamps has brought lots of new people.
Yeah, I agree as well. This actually is a good time to announce too. Today we Emblem Vault, we made minting and so I guess vaulting and unvaulting is now available for the counterparty collection. So you can now mint any counterparty asset to Ethereum. I think by tomorrow, or what's tomorrow, Thursday? By tomorrow or Friday, the Bitcoin Stamps collection will also be widely available. We currently tested it. I actually vaulted a handful of my sub 300 number stamps yesterday to test. So once we figure out a few more parameters to the collection, that will be available as well. So big win for the stamps community, because we are also in conversations with, I think Rare Stamps is adding some curation, and also Al has put in his recent post as well that you will be working on some Emblem integrations. Could you expand on that, what that actually means for those that are listening?
Well, basically, I'm waiting for you to add stamp.
Yeah, but I think we're the hold up here.
No, but what does Al? What does, you mentioned that you're just going to add Emblem integrations? It was on the last post. It was kind of in one of the threads of the Stamps post. What does an Emblem integration on pepe.wtf mean, so those that are listening may understand it?
Yeah, to be able to track the bolts, basically, if any stamp is being bolted into Ethereum, we will track it in pepe.wtf. So at the end, it's the same thing we did with Rare Pepes originally. I think it makes sense to do it with stamps once there are bolts enabled for them, like tracking both worlds. Because, I mean, Ethereum for me, having the option of transaction in Ethereum is something very powerful for counterparty, because at the end, counterparty has lots of advantages, but also has disadvantages for the Bitcoin network itself. At the end, Bitcoin block is the mint, so we may like it or not, but it's a reality. So bolts enable like something that it makes it much more agile to transact, and it's also open it to way more people, because at the end, the community in Bitcoin is smaller than Ethereum, for the good and the bad. So the possibility of having those two worlds linked for me is very powerful.
Well, I had a few people ask a few days ago, will you be adding, or you may have done this already, adding support for all of the Pepe curated collections, all 4 of them that are live on pepe.wtf?
Yeah. I need to fix a couple of things, but it's already being tracked.
Awesome. And for those two, I don't think we've announced this publicly. We will be adding a curated collection for Rare Cocoa and for Wojak Way and possibly the Memeables as well. All of the collections that pepe.wtf will be adding, we will be adding a curated collection. We just got to get through the migration first, and then those will be publicly available, and then we can make our way down the list for individual artists. Like, for example, we could do something like a Dark Farms collection, or whoever wants to create their own collections. So that is something that we plan to do. So appreciate everyone who's come on stage, dude. That was awesome. G Money, that was absolutely insane. We're definitely going to have to hold spaces a few weeks from now to really dive into everything that you had gone over. So really appreciate you for coming on stage. Hero, man, also appreciate and hearing the story of Rare Cocoa. You have any final words or anything you'd like to say about the future of Rare Cocoa?
Well, thank you for the inviting, and thank you for the awesome news for the curated collection. I think that's something a lot of people wait for. And yeah, let's fucking cocoa, man.
Hey, the cocoa within itself, man. Al, any final words for the community? Just got to say, respect everything you've done at pepe.wtf. It's a really, really big cornerstone for the community.
I would like to throw the ball to Adam because he was saying that maybe we need to do a campaign for Pepe. So I was going to propose on the 19th of November is the second anniversary of pepe.wtf. So if you want a date, I'm dropping that one. Just saying.
Awesome. Sounds good, dude. Unless, hey, I don't know, oh, shoot, he's left the stage. I'll have to check with our resident numerologist to make sure I launch it on the appropriate day based on numerology. So, yeah, but that's a good one, man.
Interesting. All right, everybody. If you guys didn't know, Adam will now has a lot of work planning by the 19th. We got to figure out our Twitter campaign for Pepe.
Strategy.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, we host this show Tuesday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We always have once a week. We do a Pepe show. We talk about the community across the space, collecting Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, cross-chain, everything, all of the new fascinations. Tomorrow, we're hosting a show with the Dogenals and DRC20 community. They've been picking up some traction there. So if you are a Dogecoin fan, Dogecoin NFT fan, make sure to check out that episode. Make sure you follow everyone on stage. Follow Al, pepe.wtf, Kiro, the creator of Rare Cocoa, myself, Adam, Chris, and Emblem Vault. Also, make sure you follow Dogfather, who is one of the OGs in the space, and Crumbs, just for contributing. So until then, guys, we'll see you tomorrow at the Dogenal space, same time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.